Hello everybody and welcome to X-Plane 11. Today we're going to be flying the King Air C90 and we're actually going to be using the FSEconomy mod, and today we're renting this aircraft and we're going to be taking it from KGUS, which is a military airfield. KGUS, and we're going to go direct KDAY. Activate flight plan. We're gonna put in, come on, cursor. We're gonna fly to KDAY. We'll activate that leg. Procedural. Oh boy, what do I want to fly? We'll wait for now. The current. Oh boy. So we want to be landing runway 18. 18 will be great. We'll take the ILS for 18. Well, we're going to activate it. So, when we take off, we're going to turn to a heading of 183, almost due south. We're going to tune that in on our heading bug here. And we have all of our nav turned off. We're going to leave the autopilot off for now. We have 94 miles, which means we should probably go up to... Oh, let's go up much higher than 3,000. Let's go to 10. 10's usually a good number. We're going to go up at a vertical speed of 1,000 feet per minute. And we're going to engage the nav mode as well as altitude and vertical speed. Because the autopilot's not actually activated, this is just gonna set them up for now. So we have altitude selected and vertical speed selected. So when we click on the autopilot engage, it's going to automatically come over on our flight plan and it's going to join this path down here, which is almost straight south, so you can't see it. So we should be set up. Our current plan for today is we're going to take, 7 people from KGUS to KDAY. Don't know where that is, but it is 99 nautical miles. So we're going to do a couple of quick calculations. We're going to go 99 miles at, well, we can usually cruise about 180, which means it's going to take us almost half an hour to get there, probably a little more. So it's going to take us half an hour at cruising speed. Now we're going to multiply it by 70 gallons per hour. That's our burn rate. Then we're going to add 96, which is a quarter of our tank. I like to keep a quarter of our tank for roughly... I like to land with a quarter of a tank for backup, just in case we have to go around, divert, any of those guys. So that total ends up at 135 gallons, or 134.5 gallons, which we're going to round up to 135. So, with 135 gallons, we can carry a maximum of 11 passengers, and we only have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 today, and no payload. So I can carry a maximum of 357 gallons. I only need 130, will be great. And if I calculate my minimum fuel that I need, it's 29 gallons, so we have plenty of fuel. So, we are ready to go. I like my view up a little higher. Make sure we've got fuel. And away we go. Brakes full, power full, brakes off, and we're rolling. So I am in no way a professional. I just like to do this for fun. I've been doing it for a while, just for fun, but relatively recently I managed to get a yoke and plus brake gear up. Couple other little toys, flaps up. We'll do a little bit of hand flying for now. Basically, we're just gonna follow this little guy on the bottom. It's pretty well aligned. We're gonna connect with that. Oh, looks like we're hitting IMC. So I am definitely not instrument rated. Oh boy, gotta keep that positive. Not instrument rated, nor do I really have any official training. But I quite like flying, and I've been doing it for a little while. Alright, let's engage the autopilot. It's gonna come down, set my vertical speed up to 1,000. And we're just gonna let it go. I don't know what this is. That's weird. Alright, so now that we are more than 1,000 feet up, is 5,000 pounds per hour, 500 pounds per hour, way too much. So I like to decrease it to about 300 pounds per hour. It's a little slower than 400, but it's like 5 knots difference. So personally, I would much prefer that. Make sure we are cleaned up. Coming back a little on the mixture, I like to keep it about, or on the prop, I like to keep it about 2,000. Dropped my fuel flow, let's keep that about 300. A little less than 2,000, somewhere between 19 and 20. It's usually good. We have to watch the ITT, make sure we don't over-temp the engine. Nav is selected, altitude is flashing. Just so you can see what we're about to break out of the clouds. Cloud top should be somewhere around, I thought it was 3,000, but the weather might have changed a little bit. Nothing yet. Alright. So we have autopilot on. It's using the trim. We have navigation selected, altitude select, which means when we hit 10,000 feet, which is what I've programmed in up here, it will select to, or it will go over to altitude hold. We're using vertical speed to get up there. We're going up about 1,000 feet per minute. So, about 150 knots, not bad, not great. There's the outside, 88 miles out. So we need to get the ATIS. Up here, we're going to tune into 125.8. Turn that active, so when we get in range of ATIS, it'll start blaring it over the speakers, and oh boy will we know. We're at 7,000 for 10. This is a nice crosswind. We probably don't want to get too high. Ground speed's 136, 130, so there is a small perk just from altitude. We're going really slow, so we can increase the throttle, keep ourselves at 300 pounds per hour per engine, and then we'll keep ourselves at 19 on the prop RPM. So, make sure we're on altitude mode, that way as soon as I start scrolling it goes down to 1,000 feet per minute. But it's going to increase, so I like to go about 30 seconds earlier because our speed increases. I like to maintain about 200 on the descent. VNav's fine, we're a little bit left. We can go 070, which is our direct heading to Jalippi. I'm not sure we're going to make that. So we're going to go to 065. Now VNav, descend to target. So we are now going to drop that little guy, this little guy, to 2,600 feet. And our vertical speed, we're going to descend at 1,000 feet per minute. And ideally, we turn on the nav, but it wants to turn and do weird things. So yeah, we're gonna increase in speed. Hopefully, we'll end up right on 1,000 feet per minute. We're gonna pull this back just a little to keep 200. So we can do both the ILS or the locator. So the locator's tuned in to 108.3. We We have Jalopy, it's coming into line. We're watching this bar come over, so in 12 seconds it'll intercept, and it's automatically going to turn over and go straight. So each of these rings is 10 nautical miles, but we don't really want to see it. I like to run too. So this is 10 miles away. When we hit Walma, I don't know what Walma is, but we're going to follow it. Geez, we are close. That's a serious RNAV. Especially in the fog. Where did all that nice weather go? So we're now on the locator. It's following this guy. Don't know why it switched, but it did. But we're going to follow this locator in. Once we hit Walma, we're going to drop the gear and slow down. Prepare for landing. We are 5 miles out. Let's drop the gear. Kill the speed. And once we get down to about 150, 140 knots, I like to drop a notch of flaps. Our goal is to basically ride that blue line in. You guys will have to rate me on my touchdown. I haven't flown this airplane a lot. That's 150. Here's a notch of flaps. That's the approach. Alright. Do a check. Prop, mixture. Let's hold that 100. Getting pretty close, so we're going to want to disconnect pretty soon. But flaps down, props, mixture, gear down. We're going to disconnect the autopilot. There's the disconnect. There's a little bit of crosswind left to right, 6 knots. Should not be a gigantic factor. Mostly ready. More throttle. Get a little bit of a crab going in. A little too slow. Need a little more throttle. We can come in pretty slow on this aircraft, but I tend to prefer not to. Alright, now we're a little high, because that leveled us off. Maintain, we're going to go down to about 700 feet per minute just to get that glide slope back, because I screwed it up. Wasn't looking at my instruments. Straight down the runway. Get this guy lined up. Kill the speed because we are still way too high. We are diving for the runway, which is not the right way to do it. We don't have extra, and we can keep it going. A little bit of throttle so that we don't slam into it. Cut the throttle right above. Not quite on center line, but not terrible either. We'll stop, and to finish this guy, we're going to kill both engines. I know you're not supposed to do it on the runway. FSEconomy open. Finish flight. But thank you guys for joining me. That was a lot of fun. Hopefully I'll get a whole bunch of information in there. You guys can actually run this and see what we did. We will see you guys in the next episode. Thanks for tagging along.